And she's right. I wish my sister, Nkosazana, Veronica, I wish I had come here first, because I just spoke in the plenary session. I could have taken this and held it up for all the heads of states to see my speech. Because this, in more ways than one, represents what I said and should have said. Because this is the full speech that should really ever be given by any head of state, in talking so eloquently about the impacts of climate change, but also our aspiration to get here, to this green part of your painting or your artwork. I think this belongs somewhere. If it does not belong in the United Nations building, at least it belongs in the union buildings. So it's the most amazing piece of work, and to see and know that it was done in the deep rural areas of our country, it's amazing. I do wish these were real people, because I would rush there quickly and get some votes from them. So it's wonderful that you have been given the opportunity to come and show the art that South Africa produces. This is natural art from our country, and I'm really, really proud of what we can do, because it speaks so much about contemporary issues, but it also speaks about the future that we want. As I said, I spoke just now recently in the plenary session, and we obviously are here at COP28 hoping that COP28 will yield something a lot better than the previous COPs. But we've also brought our Just Energy investment plan. It's a tome this thick. You will recall that at COP26, we had in Glasgow, we struck a deal with a number of countries that were willing, prepared, and able to invest up to $8.5 billion. That number has since gone up because more countries have committed to invest more money. I think we're now at 11.2 or 11.5 billion dollars, and we're hoping that it will keep increasing. What we've also been advocating for is that we want to see a larger portion of grants and concessional loans, so that we are able to address the challenges that our country faces, because we need much more money than what is currently on offer to address our own transition to a better future. We are saying, and we said it in the plenary, that as we transit, and indeed we are even saying as many countries and all countries transit, what has to underpin our efforts in transiting is to make sure that it is community-based. Our communities are part of that transition, so that we truly don't leave anyone behind. And we are seeing the full effect of all this in our coal mining areas where our power stations are. And as we get involved in community engagement, we see what the real challenge is as we move forward. So what we are talking about, our own transition, is going to require quite a lot of money, and it's going to require that we engage at a very deep level with our people. We are very pleased that at this COP28, one of the real, what you could call upfront agreements, is to address loss and damage. and that a fund has now been set up, and money is going to be put aside to address the losses and the damage that climate change has wrought on our people's lives, on communities, as represented here in this piece of artwork. We want that fund to be much bigger than what has now been put on the table. $350 million is far too little to address the challenges that climate change has imposed on our communities and areas in KZN, in the Eastern Cape, in Northwest, even in Gauteng. So the effects of climate change, as you can see there, are just spreading more and more. And we who come from countries that have not really contributed much, if at all, to climate change are actually feeling the effects much more strongly than those countries that have contributed immensely to climate change. So this COP, for starters, and people are still going to be here for 2 weeks. Minister Creasy is still going to be here for quite a while as the negotiations and the discussions go on. Minister Pandor to some extent as well, but people from the private sector as well as from NGOs and the departments are going to be here involved with other countries to negotiate good deals that can address our transition to a green economy, green everything. We are now capitalizing on a number of technologies and number of new industries that can be yielded from the challenge that we have. Hydrogen is one such, which we as South Africa are beginning to exploit at a very, very high level. And we also want to capitalize on having critical minerals that can be utilized and beneficiated to help us with the transition. And this is going to create new industries, new jobs are going to be created, new technologies. And as we traverse this path, we obviously want people to be skilled. We want the new skills that are given rise by these new sectors that are emerging. And we just discussed in Cabinet the issue of electric vehicles, and we don't want to be left behind as the world, particularly the Northern Hemisphere, moves towards enforcing new electric vehicles. As a fairly serious motor vehicle manufacturer, we want to be part of that process. So a lot of opportunities are going to come our way. And it's good to see so many of you here, because all of you who are here, obviously, you are interested in climate change, and I'm really pleased that we have got such a strong South African delegation from both government as well as from the private sector. It's good to see that our people, even in Hamburg and Mushwa, they are, immersing themselves in the debates about climate change and getting to understand it and also interpret it in the way that it is interpreted here. So I want to applaud you for being here, and I feel like you are really energizing us all as we address climate change. And I'd like to call on you to continue in the work that you are doing in the various iterations that you're involved in. I can see that there are students here as well. I can see that there are NGOs. I can see that there are a lot of people who come from various sectors. I just met one other professor. He says he's from Cambridge, and he wants to talk to South Africans, and he comes from China, but he's so keen to understand how South Africa is addressing the issue of climate change. So thank you for being here. Minister directed me to welcome you. I don't know what responsibility I have for that, but I welcome you and thank you for being here. It's good to have Team South Africa so well represented. So remember, you are part of Team South Africa. So even as we speak, let's talk our country up. Let's showcase our country, and let's tell the world that we've got enormous opportunities. Much as we are going through our own challenges, climate change related, energy and electricity related, even as you talk about it, talk gently about it. But we're also telling the world that yes, we are going through an energy crisis, which we are addressing. Our energy action plan is also part of our plan going forward. So we didn't come here without a plan. We have a plan. We have ideas on what we should do. And fortunately, we've got good people who are well versed in a number of disciplines, and some of them are here. So we are well endowed, and we are not planless, we are planful. So let's go and execute our plan. Thank you very much for being here.